All right, we'll call the Elk Creek Fire Board of Directors special meeting May 15, 2012 to order at 18:09. Director Branch, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call the board members. Director Wesniewski is joining us by phone. The other directors are present. First item, additions or deletions to the agenda. Seeing none? I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that'll take us to the meeting minutes from the April 12th, 2012 meeting. Review those minutes. Okay, good. Yes. Lynn, do you have any corrections or additions?
I don't, Mike, thank you.
Okay. Motion to adopt the regular meeting minutes from April as presented.
So moved.
Second. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Next item that will take us to the election canvas committee met today at 4 o'clock, certified the vote count from the Board of Directors election. The vote count was certified at Grady Learn 67, Gregory Branch 118, Alex Schwartz 142. That will take me to the next item to administer the oath of office to the newly elected board members. Stand, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alex Schwartz,
Will faithfully support the Constitution
will faithfully support the Constitution
of the United States and the state of Colorado,
of the United States and the state of Colorado,
and the laws made pursuant thereto,
and the laws made pursuant thereto,
and will faithfully perform
and will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of Director
the duties of the office of Director
of the Elk Creek Fire Protection District,
of the Elk Creek Fire Protection District,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. Next item, we have a vacancy on the board. Director Bartlett has resigned from the Board of Directors. That creates a vacancy for the office of Treasurer. Is there a nomination for the office of Treasurer?
Yes, I'd like to.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Alex Schwartz if he will choose to accept the position.
I say
And seconded.
yes.
That motion is before us. All those in favor of Alex Schwartz becoming the Treasurer of the Elk Creek Fire Board of Directors, in favor?
Aye.
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 Let the record show Director Schwartz did not vote. Okay, you are the new treasurer, which takes us...
Elk Creek Fire, stand by for tones to stage on a self-inflicted GSW.
which takes us to financial matters.
Question, do we need to have an election of office or a complete election of office?
You do not need to, but it would be a good idea to reflect in the minutes that the current officers are being confirmed.
I therefore
Unless
move,
there is to be change.
I therefore move that the current officers be confirmed by the board. Mike Rogers as president, Len Wisniewski as vice president and secretary, and Alex Schwartz as treasurer.
Second. All those in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay. All right, let the record show that the current officers will hold their titles. Okay, financial matters, treasurer's report.
We have a total income for April of $96,773.51. Total expenses of $108,456.64. I need a motion to approve the expenses.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our balances and our cash balances are $41,578 in the checking account. Seems kind of high. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, it is. $142,379.33 in the money market, and $387,576.44 in Colorado Trust, for a total of $571,533.77. And the detailed statement is attached to these. This report. Any questions? Do you have anything? Well, you're going to give the chief's report. Is there anything significant about these this report? Any anomalies?
I don't think so.
Straightforward. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. That'll take us to the fire chief's report.
Okay, Fire Chief's report. As we mentioned last month, we would like to look at a two-part reporting where we're looking at both.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mike. Could you put the chief be closer to the speaker, please?
Okay.
Okay, Len, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Chief.
Okay. Okay, so we had discussed that we would like to move to having a two-part Chief's report where we look both at our mission and the levels of service that we're providing to the public as part of it, and secondly, report on what we're doing each month in the fire department, and essentially in support of that. As we began looking into that level of service reporting, I found that we had a couple of issues right up front. One was that the older fire incident reporting system was basically archived, and we don't have access to the older data. And when the department moved on to ImageTrend, the newer system, that system was designed primarily as a patient care reporting system, and only secondarily as an incident reporting system. And so there were a number of things in terms of trying to pull information out of it that were not they just weren't there, and it's going to take some work working with the company to try to figure out how to get good data out of it, as far as just even looking at how we're doing for response times in various categories. That's one piece, obviously, of our level of service reporting. We'll also need to really look at the training and qualifications levels of our staff, staffing levels, how well we're doing in fire prevention and overall community preparedness. So as we move forward, I think this is going to take the better part of the rest of this year for us to really develop a comprehensive level of service statement and strategy, and then to start looking at our current baseline levels and comparing them with where we are. We're able to get some data out right now, so we can look at some very basic data, but not to the extent that we need to really have a good picture of how well we serve the public.
Is that data not accessible, or just not format that we can use, or what's the status of that old data?
Well, the old data is on the server, but basically when at some point in the past it was basically disconnected. And as we move on, we're slowly replacing the computer system, which has been, it's really a Band-Aid system that we've got right now. very disorganized. I've got pieces of that in place, and what we're doing is we're getting the new server in fairly shortly, and then we're going to move things over systematically and set it up in a way that works for us, and then discontinue using the old server, which is many years old at this point. When we do that, we'll also set up the ability to operate the software program that has the older data on it. And then also we're going to be working with, the newer data is actually in a cloud-based system, so we don't actually have it here at Image Trend. Image Trend, right. Right, it's we just access it over the internet. What we'll need to do is work with Image Trend to be able to basically come up with the kind of reporting that we need to have in that. So that's going to probably take a little while for us to get those pieces put together. There are several other issues I wanted to bring up with the board. As I was going through some of the administrative information and programs, I found that to start with, we had an issue with some of the payroll procedures that we had for the shift firefighters. And essentially the problem that we had there was that the firefighters are allowed to work 182 hours in a 24-day period, which was their established work period. The Fair Labor Standards Administration allows you to calculate the hourly rate by taking their salary, dividing it by their regular hours, and that should give your hourly salary. For some reason, it was set up in the past so that it was being divided by all of their scheduled hours, which were in excess of their regular hours. So
that would lower the hourly rate.
So it lowered the hourly rate, and it meant that we have not been paying, the appropriate overtime to the shift firefighters. They've been getting shorted on that. Starting with this month, we have corrected that issue moving forward. It's going to be a little bit of an additional expense, but primarily we're talking about basically less than $1 difference in their overtime hourly rate, but also calculating the number of hours that they work appropriately, which was it was a little bit of a voodoo system in the past in terms of establishing that. So it'll be much more straightforward, easier to keep accurate. Along with that, one of the things that when Annie Eigel resigned to take another position, Marie was moved up from the half-time position. That meant that we went from 1.5 positions in administration to 1. So rather than trying to look at adding another position, we're trying to figure out if there were more effective ways that we could reduce the workload so she's not in here on Saturdays all the time, trying to stay caught up. Two of the things that came up, one was to move from a bi-weekly payroll to a monthly payroll, which would cut down on the amount of time that's put into that, and also cut down on our processing costs through ADP, who processes our payroll for us. And the second one we looked at was going to an outside ambulance billing company. And with that, we looked at a company that does a little bit of a different system than most, in that they charge a flat fee of $22 per ambulance call to do the billing, which is a very low percentage of the cost of the bill. And instead of assigning the bill over to them, they try to collect what they can and keep a big portion of it. This company just handles the paperwork for us, and then any decisions about whether we write ambulance bills off or send them to collections all come back to the district. So there won't be any difference in our collection rate by using this, but basically we're going to take it from someone who's doing that as part of their regular job and hire this company to do it at a flat fee, and they're very efficient with that, and able to do it very effectively. So those two things should help at least reduce some of our need to increase our administrative staffing or keep it up at the 1.5 full-time equivalent level. Okay, a couple other things in admin. We are still working on getting the telephone and computer system switched over, and that should actually occur within the next week. And again, the nice thing about that is that we'll be adding 2 phone lines and increasing our internet speed by about 4,000% for the same price that we were paying before. So that was really a no-brainer decision. Then the other thing, we did complete the audit. We don't have the audit report back, but 2 things that we discussed with them that I think the board is already familiar with that I brought up earlier in the year is that we had issues with poor record keeping of past federal grants, and we're still working on getting those grants resolved with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And then secondly, that basically we just don't have an effective inventory system, particularly for smaller, lower budget items, laptop computers and things like that, just have not been well tracked in the past. And the auditor found both of those things, but again, those were also things that I had brought up to the board in past meetings as well. In operations, last month we talked about a number of the changes or improvements that we wanted to make that we found from the North Fork fire. We have started on a number of those things. First, in mapping, we've got 2 things going on. We've gotten map proposals from one company has sent one in, and another one is preparing them. So we'll be evaluating them to see whether hiring someone outside makes sense in that respect. And at the same time, we've got one of our volunteers who's basically starting to work on the mapping project in-house, at no cost to us, and we'll see what we can do working with the county's data and whether or not it's feasible for us to to produce those ourselves rather than hiring an outside firm to do them. Radio communications, we do have the 800 megahertz radios that will allow us for the first time to talk to West Metro Fire Department or the other fire departments that are down the hill. They have been programmed, and on the 29th we have a training session on those radios for all the firefighters, and then once they're trained on them, we'll get those out on all of the apparatus, and that'll take care of one piece of the communication issues that we saw there. We are still waiting on a grant request from Colorado State Forestry to purchase the other VHF fire radios, which would be a 50% matching grant on purchasing those radios. Unfortunately, Colorado State Forest Service has been a little delayed in a lot of their regular business lately. Wildfire standards was another one that we addressed, and the wildfire personal protective equipment, and we have started implementation of that. We've had, by and large, very good compliance with folks, and we did have, I believe, 16 of our firefighters enrolled in the squad boss class and completed that. So we've got quite a few folks that are working on moving up in their training and qualifications. We are working with a number of the other firefighters who were not able to pass the physical standards, and trying to make that something that folks can complete. The PPE, one of the big issues that we did see with that was the fire shelters as well, and that's also something we're waiting on the state grant to see if we can get the 50% matching funds on that. The evacuation plans and procedures were one issue that we had identified, and And I'm happy to say that, you know, we did get some major changes made to the Jefferson County evacuation plans based on programs that I had worked with other counties in Washington State on. And that has not only been adopted by Jefferson County, but has now been very widely accepted across the state of Colorado. And we expect to see that that's going to, essentially, the Jefferson County plan will be the one that is adopted by most counties in the state of Colorado. So it's good not only that you know, we're stepping up and you know, taking the lead on that, but also that we're moving to a standardized system, which has been one of the major issues that we identified with a lot of what went on with the Lower North Fork fire, was having every jurisdiction on different radios, different procedures, different you know, the different ways that they call out fire engines. With you know, one thing I did not include in here, but I have also stepped up to assist the State Department of Emergency Management and the state fire chiefs on development of a statewide resource mobilization program. And we've made some progress on an interim plan for this year over the last couple of weeks. And in fact, I think we were the first department in the state to actually list ourselves as a you know, an available resource under that plan. We're going to be working on, again, getting the information out to the other fire departments across the state on how that interim program will work. And then I've also volunteered to assist in you know, putting together a longer-term resource mobilization plan because of my background in managing those types of plans back in Washington. With the next part of that also goes along with that is improving our mutual aid capabilities here in the 285 corridor. And since our last meeting, we have established a local fire chiefs group, and we have begun to improve communications and to come up with plans on how we can both share resources more effectively and also to basically share our expertise, you know, the command officers, to be able to step in and take on, you know, basically type 4 incident management. So it won't be a full-fledged incident management team like the type 3 Jeffco team, but it'll be a local type 4 resource pool of fire officers who, you know, have the qualifications for that. So that's something that that all of the departments on the corridor have agreed to in principle, and we've got those. Actually, our next meeting is coming up next week, and we're really making a lot of progress on that respect as well. The last area, you know, community relations, which, as we mentioned, was one of the major recommendations I had made on first getting here, is that we had to get out and work with as many of the communities as possible on fire-wise communities and on mitigation, and on, you know, being as prepared as possible for events. That has kicked off very well. I've been meeting with different public groups on an average about 3 a week right now, and we've got several communities that are involved in the program, several others that have asked for just specific help with education in certain areas. You know, we're looking at evacuation roads, looking at water supplies, providing you know, door-to-door kind of fire-safe homes inspections. So the program is off to a very good start, and I expect it actually to snowball from here. The big one that we've got coming up is an all-community meeting coming up on the 22nd, which we're trying to get it publicized as well as possible down at the Episcopal Church. And we're going to try to get as many folks in the community as possible into that, where we'll talk about not only mitigation, vegetation mitigation, which I think a lot of people are aware of, but also some of the construction and maintenance of homes, and the evacuation procedures. There's public really needs to know more than just that there's a reverse 911 system. So those things are going to be covered at that, and we will have Captain Kleinschmidt from the Sheriff's Office assisting with that discussion as well.
Thank you.
That's the 22nd of May.
That's the 22nd of May, yeah.
We have to get the word out somehow.
Yeah, we've been trying to get it around as well as we can. We've got distributed some posters for businesses, sent out emails through a number of different groups. The Chamber's helping out. We're trying to hit it through the usual means. It's always going to be a difficult thing in this community with without one source of information or easy access for folks. Trying to figure out how to communicate to such a spread out population is, I think, going to be something that's going to be an ongoing challenge for us.
So Bill, is that a two-way meeting? Is that a meeting that you would expect to get some community input back as well?
I hope so, yes. What we're hoping is not only that people will walk away from that meeting with a better understanding of what steps would be most important for them for protecting their own home and family, but also that it would be an opportunity to get into more communities and to help answer questions that people have, as well as trying to just get the word out about what we're doing and one of the big kind of factors that I wasn't going to cover very much in that meeting, but the whole discussion about what level of service we provide, and particularly in light of the number of people that have asked questions about the local fire department capabilities following the Lower Northborough fire. People have to be cognizant of what capabilities exist between, not just with us, but with our other mutual aid partners, and what really what our limitations are. That's going to be an ongoing discussion, I think, with the public, because the public really is the group that should be making the decision about what level of service they want from us. But in order to do that, they have to be well educated in what we can do for them.
Do you want to discuss your customer comment cards?
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, the customer comment cards, we finally have those done, thanks to Michael Davis, who took off on that call. We're starting, essentially, we're backing up to any of the calls starting from the beginning of May, and we're going to be sending those calls on, those cards to, every person that we interacted with on incidents, and then also for things like fire inspections or anything. And hopefully we'll get feedback from the public about, how well our folks do, when they're transporting a patient or coming out on a smoke check, as well as, getting feedback on, how well our public education programs do, and whether or not, we accomplished anything with any of those. So those customer comment cards are finally ready to go. We got a little behind there for a while on a few things, but we're getting caught back up now with that program.
Very good. Any questions? Okay, I don't have any legal update, so that'll take us to citizens issues. Any citizens issues? Any old business from the board? New business. The first item of new business I have is the current board vacancy that we have now. I feel it's important to stay consistent. We've had 2 board vacancies in the last year or so. I think we'll treat this vacancy just like we treated the last 2, stay consistent. We'll announce through the media and on our website that we have a vacancy, follow our bylaws to the letter, We have up to 60 days to vote in majority to place a qualified interested member on the board. We set a deadline in the past, like a week before the following meeting. So we'll post a deadline of June 7th to have a resume in if you're interested in being considered for placement on the board. And we'll hold those interviews at the June 14th regular board meeting and take action then. As I said, that's consistent with what we've done with our last 2 vacancies. Without hearing any objection, we'll proceed that way. The other thing I want to just have the minutes reflect from the last board meeting, it was discussed that we had approximately $300 in a pension account at the Bank of the West. We closed that. That check is sent to FPPA, so that's cleaned up. We're also organizing, getting the new, or we're going to do that. Okay. Yeah, it was discussed at the last meeting. Now we're directing it. Okay. And also we'll need new signature cards for money market and checking, and also the Colorado Trust. Correct. And we found out that we have a safety deposit box there, so we're going to audit that. And then the board will need to discuss whether or not we feel like we need to maintain a safety deposit box. So, just cleaning up some of the matters that were raised at the last board meeting. Do you have any other comments on anyone? Okay, any other new business from the board? Okay. Seeing no other business before the board, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At 18:41.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks.
Thank you.